I've always been so curious about the way that judo impacted this, because I know he was one of the early people that was really getting into martial arts in Europe. Wasn't he the one that inspired you to start learning judo? Is that
Definitely.
Yeah, definitely.
That's what's going on.
We didn't know much about judo before, but he was very into all sorts of physical expressions of his work. And the first thing that he showed us is how judo is the maybe the core or the seed from which this work started to develop as a philosophy of how to have your body well organized to any task that you need.
But beyond that, very clear about the fact that it's not just the physical, that what he liked about judo was the fact that the philosophy and the psychological impact is completely tied in, expressed through, and learned, embedded through these movements. The idea of playing with balance by keeping your center, so being able to move but still be centered, of having to do things symmetrically on both sides, which was really different from a lot of the sports that they were teaching, like tennis and even running, which was people thought only in the legs, and he would look at the whole body and the circle of the body. He was talking about the importance of, in judo, of learning how to fall so you're not afraid to fall, and how psychologically important that is in terms of a metaphor for life. Like, you fail, get up again, no big deal. And as well as knowing that doing things in a cycle is what's important. Everything is very cyclical in judo. So there were a lot of philosophical issues there that he thought would be really important for children to learn young, so that it's part of their way of living.
And then we decided to go to Japan. So that's how it happened.
He came and visited you there, didn't he?
Yeah, and we were in Japan for about 3.5 years. Towards the end of it, he came and visited, and we took him to all the people we knew there, which he had heard about, and the great judokas, and we studied in the Kodokan, which is the University of Judo. So we took him there, and he was very happy. Always said, "Look what Kotani gave me." They received him beautifully. Somebody gave him a badge, and somebody invited him for dinner and to see the match and everything. So that was very nice.
Because he did have that history with judo, which you asked before, which was that he had been asked by the originator of judo, Jigoro Kano, who met him in Paris when Moshe was a scientist there. He asked him to open the first school of judo in France. And that is documented, well documented, that he and a man called Kawaishi together started judo in France. So judo was really a huge part of his life. And then we told the people in the Kodokan that he's coming, and they researched and found out who he was, and that's why they received him like that. And also because he was so interested in Eastern things anyway, because my mom got us involved in Japanese theater, in North Theater. That family invited him, and we entertained him, and we had some really interesting friends there that my mother introduced him to.
Another thing I just want to add is that while we were in Japan, Moshe took a group of people to train to become his assistants in the future. And these are the people who are known as the Israeli first teachers. That happened then.
He met them in Japan?
No, they were they were Israelis.
Okay.
And he saw that he is going in the future to need assistance. So when we left for Japan, that was the time that he was training this group.
Because Mia wasn't there to help him, he needed people. But
He needed assistance.
can I add also that you actually have letters that he wrote to you about that training in Hebrew?
Yeah,
he
and,
used to
and
write
he,
to her
and he
regularly.
wrote to us what's happening.
How
So that's why I remember it.